Right on time. All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Halona Black. Thank you so much for joining me early in the morning on a Wednesday for our Wednesday AM Mindful Storyteller Circle. This is a place where we get to gather and tell stories. Good morning from Guatemala, Desiree says. So glad to have you here. This is where we join together to be able to talk about our stories, what's going on in our lives. We learn to appreciate some new things. We do that through journaling. We do a little bit of meditation and sharing over the course of our hour together. Oh, wow, there's a lot of y'all today. Hello, Kathy. Kim is joining us. This is nice, yay. Good morning. Oh, Miss Jamila is coming too. Look at that. The whole
Good
box of
morning.
the Zoom is covered with your happy, shiny faces. So glad to have you. All right, so I wanted to start today with a short meditation, just for a couple of minutes. You can keep your video on or off, it's up to you. And so what we're doing today is I like to be able to take my glasses off. So it helps me to focus inwardly. And I close my eyes. You can put your feet, the bottom of your feet, firmly on the ground, or you can fold them up and, fold your legs, whichever is more comfortable for you. And you can put your hands up in a receiving position on your lap, or you can put them down. You can also, put them in your favorite mudra, whatever works for you. There's no rules as far as what your meditation is supposed to look like. Just sit however you feel most comfortable. And you just start to feel settled in where you are. You're breathing normally. And I like to sort of get a sense of what's going on in my immediate surroundings. So for me, where I am in Mexico, I can hear the rain outside. The air is a little bit cooler around me. I hear some birds chirping. So just take a moment to tap into what's going on around you. And as we sit, we're going to take 3 deep cleansing breaths to help us get our circle started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to instruct you to breathe through the back of your heart. So if you can imagine breath coming in through the back of your heart, and you're going to breathe out through the front of your heart. So if you can see in your mind what the breath looks like, coming in through the back of the heart and coming out through the front of the heart. So 1, 2, 3, take a breath in through the heart. We breathe in peace. And then we can breathe out. Breathe out through the front of the heart. Breathe out any excess stress we may be experiencing this morning. Let's take our second breath. We breathe in through the back of the heart. We breathe in love. Breathe out. Breathe out any negativity through the front of the heart. Breathe in again through the back of the heart. Breathe in peace. Breathe out through the front of the heart. We leave behind any sort of stress this morning. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And turn back on your video. All right, so today's topic, we're talking about how to find the divine, or how to find the sacred, or how to find the holy in everyday life. How to find the holy in the mundane is how I titled it in the email, I think. And so I wanted to do this because generally speaking, a lot of us are trained to sort of look forward to the big events in our lives. So you might have, a graduation from one period of life to the next. There might be a wedding that you might be looking forward to one day. Little girls are often taught to look forward to their wedding. So we spend our whole lives dreaming about what our wedding is going to look like. There might be your once a year vacation that if you got a regular job, you get your once a year vacation. There might be some special birthdays you might be looking forward to, like your 18th birthday, your 50th birthday. But once those once in a lifetime events are over, people are sort of left feeling empty and asking themselves, what do we have to look forward to? And so we spend so much time sort of fantasizing about what the big event was going to be and who was going to be there, and how much people would admire us for sort of reaching this pinnacle in life, that we don't think about much what happens after that particular event is over. And so I'm learning to find that life is sort of filled with millions of tiny, miraculous moments, miraculous events that passes by every day, and we don't offer them any recognition. We don't think about them beyond when they happen. And that's really how we become bored with life and what it is that we're doing. We don't appreciate what's happening around us, and we miss out on the miracles that happen every day with every breath. So I started to ask myself the question, how do we find the holy or the sacred in the mundane and the things that we are looking at? Naran, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long. Welcome. I hope you can hear me. So how do we find the holy in the sacred or the mundane? Number one, I like to be able to see life from the innocence of a child's viewpoint. There's probably some young person that you've had in your life, whether it's your own child or children that are around you, where you just sort of take delight in watching a child sort of learn the life that's around them. I remember my niece when she was maybe a little less than 2 years old, and she was seeing herself in the mirror for the first time. There was like a little toaster that I was over at my sister's house, and there was a toaster that was down in her level. It was on a small table. And I sort of caught her looking at her, she's sort of checking herself out in the mirror. And that day, her mom had, kind of dressed her up really cute. She had, her little braids, and she had her little gold-post earrings, and, her little brown skin was shining nice, and, early in the morning. And she's, just sort of, she's being cute. See, she's looking at herself, and she's appreciating what she looks like in the mirror. And I sort of said, well, what you doing over there? She runs over and she grabs my hand, and she tugs me over to the direction of the toaster, and she pulls me down to her level so I can see what she's looking at. And we start looking at ourselves in this little makeshift mirror, and we're being cute in the mirror together. And I was like, oh, look at how cute you are. Look at your cheeks. And she's just giggling and just sort of appreciating the moment. And I thought that was just so beautiful. How many times do we walk past the mirror and we look at ourselves and we don't appreciate how beautiful we really are? We don't take a time to be able to, we look at other things and we might appreciate, other things or other people, and we might do like a comparison, but we don't really appreciate what we look like. I'll walk past the mirror and I say, oh God, look at my gut today. Look at how big my gut is looking in the mirror this morning. And you don't appreciate the beauty of what's standing in front of you. So I always think of that moment with my niece, and just appreciating how beautiful she is in her child 2-year-old innocence. A second way is to be curious. We got to ask questions about why it is that we do certain things. Again, just like a child. I like to literally talk to myself to be able to find out my personal unique why, for why it is that I do certain things, common rituals that we make in our lives. So why do I wear, particular clothes? Why do I wear particular colors? How do these colors make me feel? There was a point when I had just started my freelance writing business, and and I was working from home, and I had gone to the store, and this particular nail polish company that I really liked, they had a spring green color that I thought was really exciting. And I wanted to get the nail polish, and I started to pick it up to go buy it because I wanted to paint my toenails. And then I said, wait, I can't get the green, can't get the green nail polish because it's not professional. I'm working at home by myself for the first time in my life, and I'm worried about what looks professional and what doesn't look professional. It doesn't make any sense. Didn't make a bit of sense. So I walked around the store, and that realization finally hit me. Why is it that I think that the green nail polish, like, who told me that the green nail polish wasn't going to be professional? So I went back, I got the green nail polish, and I got like 2 other colors that I normally would not have worn. Because I took the time to be able to be curious enough about my mindset about the particular colors that I was wearing. So be curious about what are some of the things that you do on a regular basis. Why do you think the way that you do? When we ask those questions, it sort of gives us a realization that we have a choice in how we think and how we feel about our lives. We're not forced to do anything that we don't want to do. We don't have to be beholden to what it is our employers or what a particular industry needs to tell us. We can quite literally make our own thing. We can create our lives around the things that we want to be able to do. And then the third and the final thing that I wanted to share was learn to be delighted by your immediate surroundings. And I really like the word delighted. I started to use the word delighted, surprised and delighted. I used to work at Whole Foods some years ago. I got a job when I when I lost my job in education, and I needed to find something else to be able to do with myself. And so in what everybody thought was depression, I went and got a job in the kitchen at Whole Foods because I wanted to go learn how to, I wanted to learn how to cook. I spent a couple of years learning how to cook on my own. And I managed somehow to convince the people at Whole Foods that I was as good enough as everybody else. And like these were like well-trained chefs. And this was in New York City. These were really well-trained chefs. I somehow convinced these people that I was on their same level. And I got 6 months of like I got paid like 6 months of like chef training to work at Whole Foods, which is like, that was pretty awesome because I had at the time I wanted to go to chef school, but it was too expensive. So that was a nice way for me to be able to go and learn. But one of the things that Whole Foods use in their marketing and what they train their employees to think about when they are interacting on the floor or in the work that they do in general is that you want to surprise and delight the customers. Um, and so that's just, Whole Foods has really intentional ways. I'm sure all of us have been in Whole Foods at some point, somewhere in the world. And they just have really intentional ways to be able to grab our attention to help make the shopping experience memorable. So if you look around in a Whole Foods store, you see all the handmade signs. Like those are real handmade signs. They hire graphic artists and artists to be able to come into the stores, and they actually sit down and they actually draw those signs out for, the sale signs that they put out on the floor, with all the, the pretty flowers if it's a springtime or, whatever else is going on. They hire artists to be able to come in, to be able to help market whatever it is that they're selling in the store that day. If you notice that there's such great order, if you go into like the deli section of the Whole Foods store, and all of the color and that's available there, and all the different salads that's available there. And when you go into other grocery stores, it's more functional. The lighting is poor, there's no real order, the place might smell like dead meat. That, it's like nobody put any thought or any sort of extra into what it is that they were trying to present. So Whole Foods really wants to surprise and delight their customers. And what I realized was that there's all sorts of moments in life that are going on in the same way. I like to say that God or the universe arranges these moments of delight for us. We just have to be aware in order to be able to see them. And so one of the things that really changed my life when I became a traveler was learning how to appreciate the full moon when I went to Vietnam. When they have the full moon ceremonies. Full moons happen for us all the time, not all the time, but they happen on a regular cycle in our lives, or at least you can see the moon. And I never took the time to be able to appreciate it because number one, when you live in the States, there's all sorts of light pollution all over the place. So you never really get a chance to really appreciate it. But the fact that, Vietnamese and other people other cultures who just take delight in the beauty of the full moon and what that means. They have a whole rituals. They would clean up. They would, get all the old papers and they would take them out to the front of the house and they would burn them so that they can get ready for the new moon, which is where, you start fresh. You start, with the new moon, you start fresh again, which I think was really beautiful. And then when I moved to Rwanda, I learned how to appreciate sunrises. Sunrise because it's the land is just so beautiful, and in particular that the apartment that I was living in, the sunrise was quite literally just sitting off of my bedroom for free. I can just watch how I could track how the sunrise would just come up in the morning over these beautiful green hills, and it was just beautiful to be able to look at. So think about how it is that you can learn to be delighted, surprised and delighted by small things in your life. So I like to say things like, if you watch the route of ants, how ants move in your backyard or somewhere on the street. I remember years ago when I was in the Peace Corps, there would be like these big termite hills. And so I would watch the termites sort of build these big mounds that were taller than I was sometimes. And it was just beautiful to be able to watch how the termites, there wasn't a lot to do in my little tiny Togolese village. So you learn to take appreciation for what it is, the nature, all the nature that's happening around you. And so you watch the termites build their these hills that they lived in. Or you can take a new route to the store. Take a new route to the store. Ask yourself, what is it that you can discover on the way to the grocery store today? As opposed to just, packing up, going to the grocery store, buying the same 3 items that you buy all the time, and then you just go back home. You can plant a garden somewhere, or buy yourself a flower or a plant or something and put it in your window and sort of just watch what it does. Yeah, so that was what I had for today. Helping us to find the holy, the beauty, however you want to call it, find the beauty in the everyday moments and those mundane moments. So if anybody else wanted to share, if they had any moments of beauty that they wanted to talk about, or things that they wanted to think about because of their travel, or just something that you've noticed where you are that just helps makes the day a little bit brighter.
I'll share.
Yes.
Um, yeah, the sunrises have always been something that I've I, I've just marveled at a sunrise. Um, it was probably um, I'm gonna say had been maybe about 10 years I had not been to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my 55th birthday, and I decided to visit a friend who had a beach house in Maryland, and I told her I wanted to go see the sunrise. I hadn't been to the beach, and I still wanted to try to see the sunrise at the beach. And she said, well, I'm not getting up that early. She didn't live that far from it, but I said, okay, I can walk. And I walked in the dark to make sure that I checked the time um, that it was supposed to rise, and got there. It was kind of spooky. I was the only person on the beach, but it started coming up. You couldn't see it, of course, at the horizon, but you saw light. And I watched it until it came up, and then more and more people started coming out. And I guess it was a real thing, it was a thing to go to the beach and watch the sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like something had been completed, like 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 I was part of something that completed this first of all, um me getting to the beach after 10 some odd years, then to see the sunrise. And so I wrote about that, and I actually started a journal, like a journal for people to, a guided journal. Um, and it's an ebook right now, buried somewhere. But but yeah, it was magical. And I call those times um just as you talked about being delighted and surprised, I talk about those moments that we take for granted as magical moments.
Mm-hmm.
There's something magical about the sun rising or even setting, and then, you know, and the new moon. Just natural occurrences that we don't even think about. So I really would love to experience in Vietnam, them cleaning up and getting ready for a new moon. That just sounds so, that sounds magical to me, you know? Yeah. So that's my story.
Awesome, thank you.
Um,
And it really is magical. I never really I took no time to appreciate the full moon until Vietnamese taught me how to be able to do that. So
Good
anyone else?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Halona. Good to see
Good
everybody.
morning, Kim.
Yeah, good to see everybody. Just really quickly, I it's really easy for me to find the beauty and the sacred when I'm traveling, especially if I'm in a new place. Everything is amazing to me. Um, the moon, the sun, the water, the beach, the sand, the people, everything is amazing. Then I come back home. And um, So, and the difference often is striking in my attitude or in my feelings about being home. So I'm like a little salty, right? So my office um, is in the back of my apartment, and I have a patio. It's still a back porch, but they call it a patio. It's back porch, and it overlooks an alley. And um, I find very slowly, because I sit here and I look at it all day. It's my view all day. And one of the first things I notice, number one, is that um, my attitude about what I see informs like how I feel about it. So when I'm looking at outside, looking at an alley, but I'm looking down. And then but when I sit here, I'm looking straight ahead, and in the alley in the back where we park and everything, there's these huge, huge trees with all these amazing birds in these trees. We have woodpeckers. There's a cardinal that comes and sits on my balcony on a regular basis. And my point is, I live in the middle of Chicago, in the middle of Chicago, and um, and I look over an alley. But when I look up, I look at the trees. I can see the space in the sky between the trees. I can see the sun. I can see the birds. And it's amazing. It's beautiful that I'm looking at an alley and I can see this, feel the same level, the same kind of beauty that I see when I'm traveling and see new things because it's a new thing. So I think for me, it's like looking with new eyes, fresh eyes all the time. Because no thing is the same. And so my perception, then I look down, I can see the garbage, but when I look up, I can see the birds. And so that's been kind of transformative because I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here, so I can either look at the trees and the skies and the birds, or I can look at the garbage. So I love this topic. So thanks for sharing that. It's good to be here. Hey, Tassie. Good, Tassie.
Yeah, when you take a look at your vantage point, that's why I like to be high up. I used to live, when I lived in DC, I don't know if people are familiar with DC, but there's like the front of that of the house or your apartment, and in the back there's like a selection of alleyways that sort of go, it's like its own little street route. And so, you can choose to look at the garbage and, whoever else, whatever else is walking through there. Or, you can look at the trees and, there's green grass and, sunny days and all sorts of other things that you can pay attention to. And you just have to choose what it is that you're looking at. You can pick and choose what you want to focus on. Thank you, Kim. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a little bit to share. Um,
Yeah.
when you said finding joy in the mundane and just the things that are around us in our environment every day. I'm sorry. The
We can still hear you.
lawnmower guy is right outside the window, right as I talk. But so where I live at, they plant flowers that come back every year, and this is my second summer here. And I last year I took joy in watching the roses on the rose bush right outside my window, and I noticed that they lasted all the way until October. And so that's something simple that I find in my environment. And another thing is I have committed myself to wearing dresses as much as possible. So I'm finding joy in doing that as well. So those are two things that I've been, kind of focusing on.
And wearing dresses, you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Me too. I love dresses. You know, they're easy to put on. You don't have to do a whole lot of color matching because this is one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
I love a
And I
beautiful
just do it because I want to. I kind of hesitated with taking that on because hardly anybody wears dresses anymore,
dress.
around where I'm around anyway, in my environment. And I second guessed myself at this age, still second guessing myself, because I didn't want people to be thinking that I thought I was being cute. Well, you know how folks say, "What she got that dress on for?" Saying, "Oh, you dressed up," and I just say, "No, I'm not dressed up. I'm just dressed. That's all."
Hmm.
But thank you anyway. Yeah.
Because
So
you are
those are
dressed up, and that's true. You are
And you
dressed
are
up.
being cute. You know, I used to rehearse. I used to practice what I would say smart. I wasn't a natural smart aleck. I was a rehearsed one. And so would rehearse when people would say, "Oh, you think you cute." And I would say to myself, this was me rehearsing, "No, you think I'm cute."
that's a
Or,
good one.
"Oh, you think you cute." I am.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So you
Hmm.
are cute.
Thank you for that. I needed to hear that. Yes, I'm enjoying it. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't think it's a cardinal sin to be cute.
Well,
it's not. It's
you know,
But I guess
but
sometimes when others don't feel that they are, they,
Absolutely.
how folks project,
How dare you do
So
that?
yeah, like
How dare you come
yes.
outside dressing yourself up like you're important?
Hmm. Like, where are you going? I'm going to the store. I'm going to Dollar Tree. you
Hmm.
know? Yeah. So yeah.
Anyone
That's
else
what I
want
want.
to share? Thank you, Mr. Mina.
I can share.
Yes.
Um, so I come from a city I never really liked it here. It has a lot of ugly parts. Um, and so one of my dreams has been to move away, but I realize I need a plan before I do that.
Hmm.
So for now, I'm here. Um, and so my city is known for trees and greenery and its metro parks. And I'm like, really? Uh, Part of it was perspective, like other people were saying. Um, my mom was like, well, if you can't get away, then watch videos about people in other cities. And I'm like, okay, so I started doing that. And then I don't know what changed, but something kind of was like, I suddenly noticed all the trees and the green. And I started enjoying all the parks and walking through them. And there really are, despite some of the ugliness of the town, there are some really beautiful parts. And there are trees everywhere. Like in my city, the symbol, the logo for the town is a tree. I just never noticed. Um, so it's really made a difference. Like it's made it easier to be patient and plan properly because I still want to leave, but I want to do it right. And so in the meantime, I've been able to just enjoy the beauty around me. And I have to park in this parking garage in my apartment, and I hate that garage. It's always full of like cigarettes, and you can tell people have been smoking weed. But when I park at the top, it's a really nice view of the sunset. So every day when me and my daughter come to the top of the roof, she'll be like, "Oh my goodness." So we'll stop and we'll start taking pictures. It's, like looking up instead of looking down at all the ugliness below. It's nice.
Mhm.
That's it.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's really important to be able to think about when, you feel like you're sort of in between places. We get so excited about the place that we're going to, and we feel like we can't stand where we are, and then it affects our mood. It affects our mood, and we can't enjoy, the last days, however long that might be for you, of where you are in the moment. So to be able to stop and sort of think about where it is that you are, so it doesn't feel like such torture in your last days of being someplace. You can actually enjoy it and actually leave with a light heart, a happy heart. You don't have to leave hating the place. You leave excited, so you're not running. I think a lot of us do a lot of we're running to the next place because we can't stand where we are, and we don't have. I don't like to move from one place to another in the spirit of running. We're leaving because we made a conscious decision that this is what we want to do. We're going to close this chapter up nicely. We're going to pack our bags and happily move on to the next place so that we can find even bigger and better things that are waiting for us in the next space. But we don't have to hate where it is that we come from.
Mhm. You know what I think is so important about this idea of finding, what did you call it? The holy and the mundane, is that this is relevant even when you get to where you think you want to be,
Mhm.
right? Like, I've been in Playa, this little beach town, for 6 years at this point. And what I realize, I keep coming, well, and I've left and I keep coming back. Um, but in the coming back, I realized that I appreciate it more when I do find the small things to be excited about or to look forward to, right? The little things. Because, for a minute, it was like, this is paradise. Why am I not enjoying it? Why, people vacation here. Why am I bored? And it was for that reason, because I wasn't um, just looking with new eyes. So this is like such it's a practice that's relevant at every part of the journey. Um, and when I left the States, I got a tattoo that said "Enjoy the journey," so that I could remind myself to not keep looking for the destination. But it's like when you stop trying to focus on the destination, it's like, yeah, how do you like focus on the now and be present? And so, yeah, this is just a really important lesson for every part of the journey. So thanks for the reminder.
No problem. And I think for me, I've become more conscious and aware of time and how quickly time passes. There's so many beautiful moments that have passed us that we did, yeah, we never even thought to look at. And so I don't know, I don't like to think about, what age I'm going to leave the earth, but you never really know how much time you really have left, because there's been so many young people who have left in my family and friends and just, people that we meet in passing, who left way before when they thought they would. So it's just important to be able to take to take note of what it is that's around you and find things that you love, and to be able to make the most of the life that we are living from day to day. Is anyone else dying to share anything?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
I
Let's get into
actually,
it.
hey, um, this is such a great reminder, like Tish said. I really, I try to stay in my present, and really think about, the little things each way. But you talked about the in-between time, and I'm
Mhm.
definitely like, I'm in an in-between time now because I'm getting ready to leave. I'm gonna be peacing out of Guatemala, and I'm gonna go back to the States and hang out with my family for the summer. And that decision came, it wasn't, I didn't decide that it was supposed to be an like turning point or whatever. And Spirit just said, like you finish your assignment there, like you've done what you need to do. And now it's time to plan and prepare for the next step. So I'm really, really excited about it. And so in these I have like a month left here. I'm just trying to be like, okay, do something done downstairs or whatever. But it's also been like crazy rainy season, so it's given me to just like really rest and do nothing and really just let nature do its thing. And that's been really beautiful too. And also like really of pleasing, out and really, getting ready for the next phase. So I really like the way they around just being mindful of the day-to-day things that happen that are really preparing you for the big thing that you're reaching for or whatever. But like those little things really do matter because without them, you're not gonna get to the promised land or whatever it is that you're building up for. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to just doing tourist things these last few weeks that I'm here in Guatemala, spending time with the people that I've met here and getting rid of some stuff. Every time you move, you gotta get rid of stuff. So doing that. And yeah, it feels really good to kind of just take a moment and slow down. It just that in the present.
Yeah, that's beautiful. To be able to take the
That's all
time
I
to
got.
appreciate, yeah, to appreciate your last days in Guatemala. I like how you explain moving with nature. And when nature slows down, that's our key to slow down too. That's really important. As Americans, I don't think we don't learn how to move with nature. Whenever I think about um, what is good and pure in the world, I'm always brought back to my experience as a Peace Corps volunteer in Togo when I was in my early 20s. That's probably the most natural environment I had ever lived in my life. And so I lived there for 2 years. And I remember having a conversation with my host mom in my village one day, and it was probably about a year and a half that had passed. And I realized she doesn't really live her life by calendars. She said, I remember she said one day, she said, they would call me Sahada. She said, Sahada, I think it's almost time for you to leave. I was like, no, I still have about 6 months. And then she thought about, she said, oh yeah, when you came here, we were in planting season. And that was strange for me to hear. I don't know anything about planting season. I grew up in the city in New Jersey. But she didn't say, you showed up in whatever month it is that I showed up in the village. She remembered it because of the time of the season that she was working in, and this is how people think about their lives. There's a time, for planting, and then there's a harvest season, and there's all sorts of other things that happen on it in between. For if you're a farmer, you would understand what that is. And so moving with seasons is really important. That's something that we as Americans need to learn is how to be able to slow down when nature slows down, how to sit down and be quiet when it rains.
Which we got a very good reminder of that when the power went out. Yeah. day. It's raining, raining, wind blowing,
Mhm,
and the power just went out. And
mhm.
we just sat, and it's like, oh yeah,
That's what you do. You sit down.
remember when you had to sit down because it was raining and granny or mama, auntie said, go in there and sit down somewhere.
Yeah, you just sit down on the floor and be quiet, and you just watch the thunder and the lightning.
That's it.
Is that your grandson, Miss Carol? I can't hear you.
My great grandson saying good morning.
Good morning. His name Prince.
Yeah,
Happy
that's
Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Happy Freedom Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I totally forgot. Look at me. It is Juneteenth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm giving a talk with the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism for Juneteenth today at 2:30. It'll be live on Facebook and there. And I'm gonna cover the history of the health experience for African Americans from the 17th century to present.
Mhm,
And then talk about flower essences and how they can help our generational trauma. So I hope you show up or have time to show up.
mhm,
But you know, it's so interesting what everyone was saying today about change. What this group has done for me has made me consider moving to another part of New York. I'm really a New Yorker. I just like every piece of blood in my body is New York. And I set out after COVID to explore various parts of New York. Right now, I live in Flatbush Midwood, across the street from Brooklyn College. And I had been saying, oh, it's been 35 years. And then the other day, I was counting. I said, wait, it's been 40 years, you know? And because I did a lot of moving before I moved here, the fire in me to move just wasn't here. Plus, I was able to rebuild my life
mhm,
uh, in this space. But the sentiment of that now is waning because my alma mater is across the street, Brooklyn College. I went there. There's a pond there, so that's like my backyard. I took Prince there on Sunday. There's koi in there and turtles. I mean, there's so many beautiful places. We were at Canarsie Pier yesterday by the water. And because it's so easy to travel to beautiful spaces from here is what keeps me as well.
mhm,
But what this group has done was stimulate me to begin saving to move because I love Yonkers. Yonkers is a, a suburb slash urban area,
mhm,
and it has beautiful libraries, it has waterfront, it has all of that. And so I'm looking at all of the elements that I enjoy about my life and about living, I should say, and thinking about moving there. At the same time, um, you know, continuing to travel around and enjoy other people's communities. So, yeah. So you moved me out of the comfort zone of just saying, okay, well, I'll stay here for the rest of my life, which is it's a nice building and everything about it. It's the rent is perfect. You know, it's not even $1,000 yet. So that's another thing that kept me here. Like, where am I gonna live in New York? And I'd say I can't get it somewhere else, but in New York for that price and not have to duck and dodge bullets even in the neighborhoods that you have to duck and dodge bullets in, it's like $2,000 for a one bedroom, you know?
absolutely. Mhm.
So, I appreciate that part of it. My favorite place to be on the planet is Hawaii. One of my friends just reminded me to visit her when I'm back that way. But I wanna branch out some and visit some other places. Um, and just continue growing in in the world that I've created for myself. I'm content at this point. I've actually gone through the phase that you all have described, being the oldest one in the group, and seen some things. So I'm just willing to continue to explore, continue to create, and I'll continue to meet beautiful people like yourselves.
Yeah, there's always something new to be able to look forward to. Desiree says that's great for New York City, but you'll find the perfect place for you elsewhere too.
Yeah.
They want to know where they can find your talk, the link
Oh,
for your talk.
um,
The sound went out.
should be on YouTube. She's gonna like do it live, but it's the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism because they're actually running let me get the link. They're actually running a sale on my other courses, but my main focus is this talk today. I'm truly excited.
It's at what time?
2:30.
At 2:30 Eastern.
Yes. Let me get this together. I don't know if she put the promo out for it. That's what I was trying to get yesterday, the promo for it. But Matthew Wood. She usually runs it on YouTube. And
So while you're looking for that, I'm gonna go ahead and put up the journal questions for today. So go ahead and look up the links because so that people can look it up and share it. So the first question for today is, what simple everyday activities bring me a sense of peace or joy? What simple everyday activities bring me a sense of peace or joy? Question number 2 is, what are 3 mundane tasks that sometimes find frustrating? How might I approach them differently to find meaning in them? And then question number 3 is, how can I create small rituals during my day to remind myself of the sacred in the mundane? Ms. Carolyn, you still working to find the link? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I just put Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism because I don't know how they're doing it. I just know it's going to be on YouTube. If you put in Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism and it's at 2:30 p.m. EST today for Juneteenth. Okay. And the person who's hosting it is Tara Buckland.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Any closing comments that anybody wanted to share? All right.
Thank you for yet another wonderful session. Thank
Thank
you
you all
all.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, some great questions.
Duran, I don't think I don't know if you heard me, but I welcomed you when you came in. I think there was an issue with your
I had an issue with
audio.
my sound coming in, and then I had an issue where I didn't, up until not long ago, I didn't know how to unmute. So yeah, and then my cat was going crazy, and yeah, so a few mishaps along the way. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Desiree says great journal prompts and discussion. Well, I hope you all join me next week. I do this every week. I'm behind in putting up the replays. I usually put the replays on YouTube. So I'm going to put that up. I got to put it up this week because it's nice. There's more people who are coming to the email list. Everybody can't come to the group, because everybody has their own schedule, which is fine. So I want to be able to make sure that people have the replays available to them. So yeah, another thing that I'm working on. I've been working on trying to do book coaching with what it is that I'm doing. Just, I have a small group in front of me. And so I'm wanting to do a webinar probably sometime in early July, talking about various types of travel nonfiction stories that people can write. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm starting my book coaching business where I'll be able to help people with their manuscripts on writing books that are based on their travel stories that they've developed. So I'll probably be able to get that out and start taking, it'll be free for the webinar. I'll take registrations probably within the next week or so, within the next 7 to 10 days. I'll be able to have that out for people to be able to register for. And then it'll probably will happen in early July. So, Ms. Carolyn, you shared some information.
Yeah, I just I shared the information that she shared with me. I was looking for her to send me a link, but all of that stuff is on the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism site. And definitely will be on Facebook Live. I don't know if she's going to do Instagram Live, but I know she's going to do YouTube Live.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jamila. Have a great day. So we're at the top of the hour. Thank you all, everybody. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Yes,
Bye-bye,
thank
everyone. Have a
you.
good Juneteenth.
Yes.
Yes, happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.